Hello, Jury. Welcome to the Only Slightly Judgy podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Sean and he's Aiden. And this is your local cinema podcast where we will obsess over all things fiction and media related. So, welcome back after our hour-long rant about DC Comics and studios and what lies ahead there. And today we're going to continue that by diving into one of the surprisingly popular new superhero properties to come out this year, which is the Telltale visual novel game Dispatch.
Yes,
So, any
sir.
starting thoughts?
Dispatch, something that honestly I had been looking forward to since the trailer came out. Like when the trailer came out, I was like, "Damn, this is so good! I really want to play this," and then proceeded to forget about it until it came out. And I was like, "Oh wow!" And then it's just become an internet phenomenon.
Yeah, and I'm like quite the opposite of you, where it's like I remember vaguely seeing like Aaron Paul was involved in the game a long time ago, but I'm not by any means a gamer, so I didn't really pay attention to that. And I only started hearing about this again when it was like the week of episode 3 and episode 4, when like people started raving about it online. That's
That
where
was
I
when it
like
was
heard about
picking
it.
up already.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Damn. I think what makes Dispatch unique is that not only do we not get that many uh choose your own adventure games anymore. I mean, like, obviously Ad Hoc Studio is made of the remnants of Telltale, right? Which made like the Walking Dead games, the Batman Telltale series. Uh we don't get much of that anymore, but for some reason this one feels like a different take on the choose your own adventure thing. You know what I mean?
Mm, it's just surprising to me because like I said before, I'm not really a gamer, so like
Yeah.
I wasn't really familiar with this genre of games, and so like I caved and bought it. I think it was the week before the final two episodes release, and I was really quite surprised by how fun it turned out to be, especially with like obviously a lot of the popularity comes from the fact that you get to pick like between a lot of branching routes that
Yeah.
like drastically affect the story you're getting, and all that is just like it's pretty new to me, so I like it a lot.
Mm. So, putting leaving the obvious elephant in the room aside for now, what do we think about Dispatch as a game?
Mm, I'm gonna be honest and say that like I don't really enjoy the actual gameplay parts of it, which is like
Mm.
the dispatches that you do once or twice per episode. I found that like I'm not sure if it's just that I didn't really get like what you're supposed to do in it, but I found it to be a bit repetitive and boring. The only thing that saves it for me, like in those sections, are like the voiceover, the interactions
Yeah.
between characters, all that's fun stuff. But like I finished one playthrough as of like date of recording, and I'm not like itching to go back again because like, I know I would have to do all the tasks again. What about you?
Um, for me, I think the dispatching thing is interesting, in which where you get to, because I think like there's two ways to play dispatch. There's one where it's like you make all your characters like really good all rounders, or you like specialize characters in like certain parts. Like for example, you have Golem and you make his vigor like really high, or you have like Invisigal and her you make her like mobility really high. So I think there's two ways to play that. So I think I like how that there's different aspects to the gameplay. The dispatching for me is fine. The part where I agree with you that is a bit repetitive is the hacking stuff. Like I get why it's important and why it's good to have. Um and it's a refresher in between your dispatching, right? But like I'm just gonna be sitting there pressing my arrow keys. Like it's not
Yeah,
game breaking, it's not
yeah, it's like
very impactful.
this is how I find out I'm not cut out to be a hacker. But
I'm
you
just
also
bad at
mentioned like
pressing my arrow keys.
yeah, it's like you mentioned the stats thing also. It's like I didn't realize until the end, like towards the end, you would have like certain situations where you would require one stat to be like a 9 or a 10,
Yeah.
and that requires you to only specialize. I didn't catch on to that until it was too late, and I ended up
Yeah.
failing like both of the missions there. So it's like,
Yeah, that's fair. Alright,
yeah.
that's gameplay. What do we think about the story in general?
Do we want to start this off by just telling everyone what endings we got for our playthroughs? You can
We
go
can
on.
talk about like choices first. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's good choices, yeah.
Okay. Um, so bringing back the elephant to the room. Blonde Blazer or Invisigal?
You want to start this one?
Sure. I am a proud day one Blazer loyalist. Like, okay. Here's something I have to preface, right? In which case you're looking at Dispatch like a superhero show, because that's what it's marketed as, right? Insofar as you're looking at the game like a show and like the story, the kind of story that it wants to tell, obviously Invisigal is the correct choice, because narratively that's where the story is going, right? It's going through a redemption arc for the person there that you're trying to quote unquote fix, while but as you go on that arc, Robert realizes like he has his own self-actualization in the process, right? However, for me in my first playthrough, um I went with Blazer because I thought, mainly because everyone was doing Invisigal, um, but also because I think Blazer was in a is in a very weird position at the start of the game, which is why I didn't do the initial kiss. But then slowly, like it kind of ramped up. There's like, like you kind of need to see where she's going with that and the kind of signal she was sending to begin with. So I think it also depended on like the choices. I know one person who agreed to go to Japan with her and Phenomenon, which I'm like, why would you do that? But okay. And I also personally think the dinner date scene is better than the movie scene.
Mm. Unlike you, I haven't tried like the two different routes, but in
Yeah.
my first playthrough, I went with Invisigal all the way,
Yeah.
basically from the moment she was introduced. And I would like to explain this by saying that like when I downloaded it, I was only aware of like the basic premise of the story. I had not seen people talking about the latest episodes. Like I was only aware of like the main characters, the setup, like roughly what their deal is. So I thought in my head that like if I went for Invisigal and also another choice that we'll go through later, it would turn the game into like purely a redemption focused story.
Yeah.
Something like like what you said earlier, it's like an underdog kind of
Yeah.
like rising up to the occasion type of story. So I went with her the first time. Yeah, and I think it was a pretty interesting story despite like the implications and like the HR violations that come along the way.
The Z team is a HR nightmare. And
Yeah,
okay,
but
it's
as
not just the Z team, it's everyone. Which
yeah,
includes Blazer, by the way.
yeah, it's like do you fall for your boss or your employee, you know? But for what it's worth, I do think that picking Visigal gave you like a more like morally complex or like gray,
Yeah.
especially with some of the choices that only pop up in one playthrough and not the other.
Yeah. Especially because I think the larger motif of the story is just generally a redemption and like living up to who you are and like your identity and things like that. And falling for Invisigal plays into that. Therefore that's why I thought that was narratively the correct direction. But
Yeah,
yeah.
because like if they were doing this like as a show or like a book or comic or something, and it had only one choice, it would probably be
Yeah.
Invisigal just for like, the story.
Yes. But I think frankly, as much as the internet argues over Blazer or Invisigal all the way, I think we can all agree that Malevola would be the correct choice. Right?
If only,
Right?
if only.
The only correct choice if it was an option, I think. Yeah. Another choice, another big choice. Did you cut Sonar or Coupe?
This one is probably the easiest choice in the game, where it's I obviously cut Coupe, just
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
like leaving aside my bias for like Moist Critical, until that point of the story, Coupe really had not established herself as an interesting character,
Right.
and Sona was just like miles ahead of her in that
Yeah.
aspect. And when like spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, when at the in the final episode when like Short recruits whoever you piss off to join him, Coupe comes back as a villain and like she just works as a villain. Obviously, she's probably committed the worst crimes out of the bunch off the top of my head. And so like
Probably.
it makes sense when she comes back as a villain. Like her character, her personality is just set up so well for that. What about you?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, I cut Coupe because Sonar is obviously the much more interesting character. Therefore, I was more inclined to cut Coupe than Sonar, especially because I feel like it's like game. This is gameplay meta, but like I was like, okay, like Sonar has really high intellect, and I think I kind of need that. Also, plus his ability allows him to switch between combat and like intellect anyway. So gameplay wise, he's the better choice. But regardless, um, I also agree with the point where I think Coupe just makes a better villain at the end. Like, it's just much more convincing. I cannot take Sonar seriously in a villainous role. My second playthrough, which was when I went for Invisigal instead of Blazer, and I cut Sonar instead of Coupe. The ending fight was, I don't know, I just never could take him seriously. And then even though the ending fight between Mecha Man and Sonar was cool, the ending of that fight was terrible because all he did was, so if you're unaware, basically when Shroud recruited Sonar, he gave him an augment that allows him to shoot like laser beams out of his mouth, right? So how Robert defeats him is when he's locked in a beam struggle with Blazer, Robert just walks up to him and presses the button on his augment collar, which stops his laser beams from coming out, and then just knocks him out. So I wouldn't say it's lazy, but it's not satisfactory writing either. So that's my
I
thing
think
about that.
Sona is just like such an obvious joke character, and I
Yeah.
would rather have a joke hero than a joke villain, especially since like there are more serious
Yes.
heroes to balance him out. It fits better in that situation, I think.
Yeah. And also, like, Coupe is clearly the darker character as well.
Yeah. For another of the big choices, did you add Phenomenon or Waterboy to the Z team?
Okay, my first playthrough, I added Phenomenon because, again, with the same thing with Invisigal, everybody was doing Waterboy, and I was like, again, narratively correct choice, right? Because again, motif is about redemption and following through to who you are, right? So Waterboy, obvious correct choice, which is why I went with Phenomenon. In hindsight, big mistake, because the thing about Phenomenon, if you didn't know this already, you can't rank up Phenomenon, meaning you can't put his stats into positions where you like that fits your team, that the way that fits your team the way it is, right? The other thing about him is his ability sucks. Every time you fail at a mission, regardless of whether people get injured, he gets depressed and then you can't put him in. So you basically don't have a slot for majority of the gameplay anyway. So yeah, that's why just Waterboy is infinitely better gameplay meta wise.
Oh, I didn't know he had like the depressed thing going on even if you picked him. I thought that was just like a gimmick they threw in for the final fight when
No,
he joins.
it's his thing. It's his shtick. Yeah.
That is unfortunate. Like, yeah, obviously like the reasons you said, Waterboy turns it into a very straightforward redemption story. And he's just like played off as such a sympathetic character from the very beginning where it's like, how could you not say yes to him? And I guess like talking gameplay wise, he starts off as like quite a blank slate with like I think twos or threes for all the stats, and you get to build him wherever you want.
Yeah. That's what's good about him, is that you can specialize him in a way that fits your team well, unlike Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like also like he's like his second superpower is so broken, like he gets to heal 2 people on the team. And then if you put him with Malevola, they just heal each other. And so it's like it's a win-win. Like Waterboy is the GOAT.
He is. It's like you just have to unlearn the power where he will like put himself into missions where he doesn't belong. After that, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Like honestly, every time I put Waterboy in for a mission, he has to go with someone else because that someone else is just like a babysitter. you know.
Yeah.
Like
Just
you have to put
just
it with
like
someone to just make sure he gets XP. It's so funny.
yeah.
Um, did you keep Coupe out of prison?
I didn't get the chance to.
Mm.
I didn't really know about that until like obviously because like I downloaded it before the final week so that I could avoid spoilers. I didn't know that was a choice that could be made. Like even now I'm not really sure like where I pissed off along the way to not be able to do that.
Yeah, there is a metric for that. So in the final battle, whether you cut Sonar or Coupe, they lead like a battalion that darkens the map along the way, right? And basically, they have a health bar, and then the city of Los Angeles has a health bar. And basically, if you fail, if you fail the final battle, which is when the LA health bar goes all the way down, at that point on which you failed the final battle, Coupe/Sonar succeed. Therefore, at the end of the game, you don't get a choice on whether or not to keep them out of prison, because they still
Oh,
decided to go through the villainous thing. If they
oh,
if you succeeded, then you could pardon them if you wanted to.
oh, I didn't know that. That's new. I'll try it next time.
Yeah,
It's like I don't remember how the final fight went, other than like I'm pretty sure the health bar went down like 40 to 50% in one go.
it's really
I'm
hard.
not sure what it was. It does?
No, I mean like the final battle itself is really hard. The final dispatch
Yeah.
is really hard. Like I also didn't get the chance to. I played twice. I played through the dispatch 2 times, and both times I failed. So I'm like, I gotta play it a third time just to see whether I can succeed on the final dispatch. But
Ignore story, just go for like full gameplay.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Mm,
Other things that I really like about dispatch is just the I think the character development is very unique, in which where sure it's the normal, as we've said a billion times, like the normal redemption trope, right? But I think regardless of who you pick, it still activates Robert's self-actualization into being like he's like the way he's saying things, it's like he's saying them to people to make a point, but it feels as though he's saying those things out loud for the first time, which reaffirms his character, right? Then he's like, oh, I feel like, and in so many times he's like, I didn't realize I truly felt this way, right? Like his initial argument with Invisigal, and one of the dialogue options is the suit isn't what made me Mecha Man, it's how I did my job. So yeah, I think those things are like really really unique to Dispatch, and it was just done super duper well.
yeah, I think like that's one thing that's unique to his character relative to like other superhero media, where it's like as someone who is in like a very deep slump, he meets like a group of people who
Yeah.
are in like much worse positions than like himself, and that's where he like learns stuff, etc., etc. It's just on paper it feels like a very tired setup or trope, but it's just done pretty well.
Yeah. What do you think about Shroud as an antagonist?
Mm, Paul as an antagonist is, I'll say like nothing extraordinary.
Mm.
I do like my like code calculating villains, and like he is definitely one of
Yeah.
them. And is it Matthew Mercer? His voice?
Yes, Matt Mercer voices
Yeah,
Shroud.
he does a great job playing him.
Yes.
Like both like the serious parts and also the comedy. You know, like if you choose to give Shroud both of the astral pauses, he goes into like probably one of the funniest lines in the game, where just like caught me so off guard.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
okay, my issue with Shroud is that he wasn't he doesn't have as much of a presence in the game as I would like. So I know the story is mainly supposed to be a workplace comedy, right? But I think in order for the final battle to have had that much more gravitas, I think Shroud still needed to be a uh a very present force still in every episode, you know? I think I mean I'm not sure how you would do that, but I think you can do that through like Because no way, like, throughout all this time, Shroud doesn't do anything that would cause a dispatch to happen. And then until the very end where he kidnaps Robert. Or not kidnaps him, like, beats him up, you know? Like,
Mm, Technically, like a few of the dispatches mention like the Red Ring henchmen up to something,
yeah,
but then it's really minor. And it's like if you aren't paying attention, they are just the same as like any other gang you have to defeat throughout the course of the dispatches.
yeah, I think I can guarantee like 75% of players don't really the description of the crimes happening doesn't really go through the brain. Because you're more focused on, okay, which hero do I have that's not resting that I can put into these situations in order for them to succeed, right? Yeah, so I think there should have been more dispatches related to Shroud.
Mm.
Like,
And I
I
do
think,
think like
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, go on.
I felt like the fight for the Astral Pulse where Shroud appears, then he chokes Invisigal out, kind of thing, right? And then the whole chase things happen. I think that should have happened earlier, like around episode 5-ish, maybe episode 4 actually. Like, not pertaining to whatever happens in those episodes, but like timeline wise, I think that would have made more sense as like a midpoint. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm.
Or rather, have something else related to Shroud as that midpoint, and then getting the Astral Pulse will make you have that, like, the hero's downtime where you're like, oh no, what do I do? It's over, I can't do anything, that kind of thing, right? So you could build it up in that way, then let it go down, if that makes sense.
Mm. I feel like I would slightly disagree with you and say that like the part where they put like the lowest low in like around episode 6 with the stuff with Chase and stuff is a pretty good place to put it, except that like maybe the last 2 episodes could have been fully focused on the final battle and the lead up to it instead of Evan still being a relatively normal shift, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, that's fair. Speaking of
yeah,
speaking of Chase, like, I never thought I would feel things for a for a elderly man with a swearing problem. I mean, he's not elderly, but he looks elderly.
yeah, even with the limited amount of time he gets, like they still hit you in the gut with like his ending in episode 6.
That was
That's
rough.
great stuff, great stuff. And although like it feels a bit abrupt, like his sort of like turn back to being like willing to save Invisigal, but in the big picture it does make sense because like so much of his stick is like just being like by the books straight hero.
Okay, here's the next question, right? Did you kill Shroud?
No, this is where we get to the fact that I in fact got the bad Invisigal ending on my first and yeah, that's the one where like spoiler alert again, where you are unable to like convince Invisigal to be like good, and she just like goes ahead and kills Shroud for you and then disappears.
Yeah. How does she
Yeah,
do
so,
it?
like,
Does she choke him out or what?
I'm pretty sure she just slashes his throat.
Ah, I see.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's like while he's deciding or contemplating something, she appears out of nowhere and slashes his throat. I think that's how it goes. Whereas like
yeah.
Whereas like that ending is clearly a narratively unsatisfying ending, and they know it, and that's why they put it there. And like eventually, I'm sure I'll figure out what choice I made where like I triggered the ending to happen. But at the moment, I'm not really sure yet.
What happens to her in that ending? Does she just like disappear and run away and gets away with it, or?
Yeah, she disappears completely.
Wow.
If I'm not wrong, she takes Shroud's mask too, like before leaving.
Yeah.
There's like, but after that, we straight away cut to the clearing the rubble type of thing, and then Robert talks with Blonde Blazer a bit on the car, and then it cuts.
Wow. Damn. That's a bit sad.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like killing Shroud, I'm not really sure if I would have done so. Like when Chase asked me about it earlier, like I picked the choice where he says like I need more time or I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Which is like the neutral one, yeah.
Same. I also picked that, but like I think it was like in the last episode I knew that you would have a choice because like I kind of guessed, right? And I was so ready to spare Shroud. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the one thing that the game wants me to do, and then narratively it's the correct choice. Until he took my damn dog. The minute that man picked up beef, I was like, nah, he's dead. He's dead. There's no sparing. There's no time for leniency anymore. No, that man is dead. And yeah, I did kill him. So, and I stand by this choice. The minute he picked up my dog, I killed him. Nah, I'm not standing for that.
I guess like in the context of our hypothetical like dispatch series or like book, it would be probably a narratively suitable choice for Robert to kill Shot at the end. It's like let me explain. It's like if it's supposed to be continuous and there's more story after this, I guess it would make sense that like full redemption doesn't happen within 8 hours, where it's like
Yeah,
all the characters still have a lot to learn, and even if Robert didn't kill him, one of the Z teamers probably would have brought it up, even if he gets shipped to like prison or something.
yeah,
Where it's like he has cost them a lot by that point, and like even though like again spoiler alert, Chase does survive, like his final run, whereas like at that point he has cost them a lot, like the whole city, like a few loved ones, etc.,
yeah.
etc.
I remember seeing on the internet so many people were ready to kill Shah after what happened to Chase. They were like, justice for Chase, man. Like Shao needs to die. Yeah, I think everything was handled so well. All the choreography, or the direction, the voice acting. Come on, the voice acting, the performances were insane. Laura Bailey for the win.
Yeah, and in terms of story, it feels like they had a lot more like small details planned. Like for example, with Strahd having a history with Robert's dad,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. It feels like they wanted to pack a lot of it in, but because of like obviously their format requires them to have 30 minutes dedicated to gameplay, but it's
yeah,
like a lot of that couldn't make it in, and I hope they get to explore it more because like the world that they have built it's getting there. I wouldn't say it's like fully fleshed out, but it
yeah.
is getting there. A lot of the materials there.
At this point, with the popularity that it has, now they have to think about season 2 if it wasn't already planned.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's an
yeah.
interesting thing to think about where it's like, how do you think they would go about a season 2?
Okay, here's the thing, right? When I was still playing it, like maybe 5 and 6, right? I was like, yes, I agree, Dispatch should get a season 2, but I think we should change the cast of characters to like a different team. Maybe this time you could go to the downtown branch or whatever, right? Until I played the finale, where I had the realization that shouldn't happen. Like the whole different cast of characters, that shouldn't work, because people want to play Dispatch. People want to play season 2 of Dispatch because of the cast of characters we have now. There's so much investment that's poured into the lives of these characters that a Dispatch season 2 without these characters feels wrong.
Yeah. And like definitely one of the main draws was like the very interesting and like vibrant cast of characters where all of them feel like I guess like I would say it's like one step above a stereotype where they
Yeah,
take a trope and they improve it by just like a little bit so that like you're wanting more. And like I'm sure all of us would love to see like a bit more fleshing out for these characters, especially some that
yes,
haven't
definitely.
gotten as much screen time.
Yes. I think the comics do that. I mean, I haven't read them, but I'm pretty sure the comics are all origins for the characters. Like
I'm not really
there's a Malevola Sonar one. There's a Punch Up and Coupe one. I don't know if there's a Prism and Flambe one. I think there is, and there's a Blonde Blazer one. These are the comics that you get if you buy the deluxe edition of the game. I've tried to see whether the comics are available anywhere else, and there isn't, sadly. So I have not read them. But yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
a season 2 where with like the same cast, obviously the biggest problem you have is like there's gonna be a few pretty drastic like like events that happen in the finale where you can't just overlook them or like try to merge them into
yeah,
one timeline again. Yeah, and I mean I'm not really familiar with this genre of game, so I'm not sure how they usually do sequels or if they actually get any. It's like, if you ask me, I think it would make sense to start off with a few like small differences where you get to um like you get to input like which ending out of the
Yeah,
few that you got for the
yeah,
last one, yeah, and they would then build from there. It makes sense to me.
yeah. That eliminates the problem of like, because if you're doing a season 2, if you don't have that like small little bit of like questionnaire to like be like, oh, which ending did you get, and like process that data, they're like, it ruins it by like choosing choices that become canon. So it's like, oh, these are the choices that you should have
Yeah,
made, but
then
like
it
that
becomes a thing
ruins the
where you
point.
piss off like 30% of your player base.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like, yeah. I mean, the other thing is like if you start from the different options already, you would inadvertently branch out more
Yeah,
unless you try to like force events so that the different choices that branch out initially sort of like come together and you're back to like 3 or 4 paths. That
yeah.
seems like a feasible thing if you ask me. Yeah.
Low-key, what they could do is they could just add like a season 2 tab to the game client, and then be like, and then then you can be like, oh, which save file would you like to use, and then you can click, oh, my Dispatch season 1 save file 1, and then that would play, and then season 2 would play out as that first save file went. So I think that's an easy way to do that. I don't know logistically how that data works, but they could make it
Mm,
work.
they could probably do it as a DLC, but
Yeah,
if they do season 2, yeah, they could do it as a DLC, but like I'm not sure about like the sales aspect. If it would sell more if it were a brand new like second game, but yeah, that's up to them.
I think if they did a Dispatch 2 and they sold it as Dispatch 2, I think yes, it would definitely make a lot of money because of the prestige that comes from Dispatch 1, right? Um, and honestly, maybe that's what they'll do. But I think the majority of people will like pay like an extra like, I don't know, 50 ringgit for a Dispatch 2 or 40 ringgit for a Dispatch 2, right?
Yeah, I guess I know I would.
Like, and then when you do that, since it's already in like, since the both seasons are in the same client, right? Then at that point they just raise the price of the game on Steam. Like you raise it to from like right now it's like 60 ringgit. You could bump it up to, with a season 2 you can bump it up to like 100.
I'll say that's a bit drastic, but it depends like how you convert it from like USD and whatnot. But then like
Yeah,
the
but I
business
mean,
stuff is
there
our
is
radar.
an entire season 2's worth of gameplay that you're adding, which you
Yeah,
already
that's
paid
true.
60 ringgit for one season. So, like, bare minimum, probably another 60 ringgit for the season 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Um, favorite character from Dispatch?
Favorite character. Hmm. Let's go like let's go top 3.
Okay.
Mm,
For me, my 3 is Malevola, Golem, and Royd. And I think Royd needs some love. I think Royd needs more screen time because I think he's just a delightful character.
yeah, even with what little he got, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you didn't brofist Royd in the toilet, like, get out of here. Like, I don't need you around me. I don't want to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah, I was so surprised when it's like I saw like the choice stats at the end of the episode where it's like apparently like, I think when I played it 5% of people did not. And it's just like what
Yeah.
reason could you possibly have to not brofist him?
Okay, maybe like they missed the quick time, you know. They were like on their phone or something. Which, why are you on your phone when you're playing Dispatch? That's the
Yeah,
next
like
question.
we can give him the benefit of the doubt there. That makes it easier.
Yeah, I guess so. Favorite characters for you?
Mm, I'll say Malevola as well. Maybe Punch Up for the like just for comedy. Like
Nice.
between Punch Up and Flambe for comedy. And I would probably go
I think Punch Up's
West.
special move is way more funnier than Flambe. So
Yeah, but Flambe as a character, it's just like it's really funny as well. He's just like this pathetic loser
yeah,
who you have to put up with for 8 hours.
he's just like a
Mm,
worse Human Torch. It's so funny.
yeah, I'll say like Yeah, let's just go with like Malevola, Punch Up, Flambe. I think
Yeah,
it's nice that I would say it's nice that this patch has like sort of like a blank slate main character, whereas like
yeah,
Robert himself is not as important as like the people who he surrounds himself with and what they end up imprinting on him. That's my read on it. So it's like
yeah, exactly.
he as a character being not the single most complex, interesting character you can dream of. Like, him being like a relatively normal guy makes the side characters that much more compelling.
Yeah, I think like as much as the rest of them were quote unquote side characters, I think all of them got like satisfactory like amounts of time spent with them, as well as like especially like what you said just now, like during the gameplay itself, like you get a lot of these interactions between them. And then if you watch the cast interview, apparently for like the voice lines between the characters in the dispatch in the gameplay, apparently what they did was they got all the voice actors in one room, no script, and they just riffed off each other.
I didn't know that before this. It's like that makes a lot of sense in hindsight with like the way that ends up playing.
Yeah, and it works out really well because it turns into stuff. You turn out stuff that's so funny, but it's also and because it's improv, it's very very authentic, and you can hear that through the
Yeah.
performance. So yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the cast members are comedians from the start, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like comedians, YouTubers or streamers and whatnot. And that definitely helped like boost the popularity of it also. Just the fact that having really recognizable names in your cast and like promoting the game.
Yes. So our biggest thanks to Ad Hoc and to Critical Role. Critical Role. Let's go. Yeah. And when I booted up the game and I saw like the Ad Hoc Studio logo comes out, then the Critical Role came out, I freaked out. I was like, whoa, why are they here? And then after that I learned of their very big partnership with Ad Hoc in making this batch happen. So yeah.
Are you aware of like the extent of their involvement in like the making of the game? Because I'm really curious and I haven't read up yet.
It was like so Ad Hoc made Dispatch, right? And they had like I'm pretty sure I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they had like some investors that pulled out. And then they were like oh, we don't have money, we don't have budget, we don't have the time to be doing Dispatch anymore. And then at that point Laura Bailey was already involved, but she wasn't playing Invisigal, she was playing Blazer actually. And then what happened was her husband Travis Willingham, who is also a voice actor in the game, he voices Phenomenon, and who is the CEO of Critical Role, looked over her shoulder and was like, what's that? And he became super excited and super invested in Dispatch. And then he went back to Critical Role and he was like, we can probably do something about this. And so they reached out, and therefore a partnership was reached where Critical Role would provide them like the manpower, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the investment came from the Critical Role Foundation as well. And then because of that, a lot of the cast members of Critical Role are voice actors credited in Dispatch. So yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, I guess that's nice. It's like knowing that Critical Role started off also because someone bigger than them took a chance on them,
Yep.
and now they are trying to give that experience to like smaller artists and
Yeah.
studios. It's like heartwarming. Yeah, like that's how you keep like stories alive.
Exactly. Yeah, everything Critical Role is doing right now is it's just they just keep doing hit after hit after hit. And with Dispatch you're like, whoa, this is something so out of you guys' like range. That's like this really surprising, but it turned out so well.
Yeah. So yeah, surprising is just like a really good word to describe Dispatch in general.
Yeah.
Like from the game to the unexpected popularity of it. I think they like sold out their sales quota in like I don't know, like 3 times or 5 times the duration that they were expecting to like hit that goal. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think they sold 10 million copies in like 2 weeks. That is insane.
Yeah. Like, imagine being in that studio and like watching your game, and then suddenly like after the first week you see like a huge spike in like interest and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you're wondering where it all came from.
Exactly. It's just sad Dispatch didn't win any awards, unfortunately.
I guess. But such is the nature. And I mean, clearly they're open to doing more. I think I've seen
Yeah.
interviews with like either studio heads or like executives where they're like, wow, this was really successful. How can we like stay true to that and like expand it?
Yeah. Honestly, if it takes another 7 years to get season 2, I will wait those 7 years. Because what I experienced, my experience with Dispatch was incredible. It was so good. What I would give to play Dispatch for the first time again.
I'll probably go back to do the second playthrough probably next year. I'm just gonna like wait a bit so that I don't
Yeah.
get like, yeah, that makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah, going back to like pick all the opposite choices. Like, I'll probably do that eventually.
Yep. Well, that does it for us here.
Yep.
On our Dispatch episode. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know if you want any more episodes like this where we talk about a specific game, maybe. If there is a game that we have played in
Media where
common.
we like do a deep dive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on like a very specific project, we would love to do so. Because if not, then this podcast is probably just gonna become a DC podcast, which is which is something we would like to avoid. But yeah, thank you for watching. Do all the normal YouTube things: subscribe, like, comment, share. Our hot takes link is still open in the description. Put down all your questions and all your hot takes, and we could discuss your hot take and judge you, and eventually, and judge you just a little bit, only slightly.
Slightly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.